10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this, what is today? August 5th, 2018?
It's 5th because we just... Yes,
no, it's the 6th. It's the 6th. You know why we were recording this early? It's actually August 6th, 2018, and Chris, you're still down there in Tampa after the Tampa Pro has let out, and Alexis Rolon has defeated Sergio Oliva Jr. in a very narrow, close-knit contest. Poor Sergio has to be relegated to second twice now in the same year after that big New York Pro win the year before this. And what is Sergio's mental state right now?
Well, I just put him in a sane asylum.
You checked him in?
Before we started the show. Yeah. No, he's doing great. He's happy because I guess he's qualified for the Olympia now, which was, he wanted to win the show.
Of course.
But obviously when you look good, bodybuilders are always happy. So he looked good, and, you get, people like, yeah, you look great. So, he's happy about that.
Well, this was a little bit of retribution for Alexis Rolon, because Alexis lost narrowly a couple years ago to our good friend Akeem Williams.
I remember that.
A lot of people were very upset about that win. And you know what? Look, I helped Akeem that year, and I have to say Alexis was harder than Akeem, but, Akeem had a little more muscle then. But it looks like Alexis has added quite a bit of muscle since the last time we saw him here in Tampa.
Yeah, no, he looked excellent. He's definitely grown in the last 2 years. Since that, second place to Akeem, and he looked really good. In a nutshell, I mean, there's more detail to it. I've gone through it with you in terms of they had an epic final mano-a-mano posing, pose down.
Well, usually that's where I would think Sergio would shine, because he likes that,
he did.
Man
he
on man. Did he do well in that?
Yeah, I had him winning. I know people have the up in arms because I'm biased about it, and I help him, but I did have him winning. But but the flip side. If someone, I never talk to judges, and some judge I met tonight said, came up to me and Sergio and said he almost pulled his hair out trying to figure out who would win. He told me and Sergio straight up. He said, "You know what? I couldn't make up a decision at the end. I went Alexis."
Yeah.
Sergio loved that because he came up to us and I forget the guy's name. But
that's honest.
Sergio loved that he came up.
That's honest.
Yeah. He said, I couldn't make up my mind. He said, I literally couldn't make up my mind. He said, Sergio, I had you at night. I had the other guy in prejudging. I didn't know what to do. That's why we compared you guys over and over and over. And I just went with my gut.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Don't even think. Just answer, okay?
Yep.
If this show took place in New York, who wins?
Sergio.
Right. Okay. If this show takes place in California, who wins?
Rolon.
Okay. What about if this show takes place in Chicago? So you think only New York, Sergio, comes out ahead because of the New York crowd behind him?
Yeah. You need more quote. In New York Pro, you see people like our age in our 50s, so they know that Sergio is the son of a former Olympia. So people get a little nostalgic about that and probably get a little biased and get wild.
I looked at the pictures, and of course I wasn't there. You were there.
Tell me.
I thought from the pictures.
Me and Hanson did a great rap. You'll love it.
Yeah, no, we're gonna. The wrap up should be up by the time people listen to this radio show, so we will get your gut analysis right after the show let out. I thought from the pictures, I thought Sergio looked a little better in a lot of the shots. But once again, it's really hard to tell because they're both so hard, and sometimes hardness doesn't really show in the pictures as well as it does in person. Yeah. So maybe Rolon was a little more grainy than Sergio in certain shots? I don't know. What do you think made the judges pick? Because you're biased because you helped Sergio, but why do you think the judges went with Rolon?
I think that they probably went with him because he had deeply cross-striated quads, even though I think Sergio's quads in pre-judgment were as good, if not better, than Rolon's because they're bigger.
Right.
And on the side chest, he's got very full pecs, and he's got right-looking side chest. You know what I mean? It just looks right. His pecs are striated, shoulder arm ties in well. But I mean, if you go pose by pose, you can say, I think Sergio wins the front poses. I think Sergio wins the back poses. I think Rolon wins the most muscular, or at least close. I think Rolon wins the side tries. I think Rolon wins the side chest. I think they both have terrible abs and thighs. So there, if you break it up that way, Sergio's, big in the lineup. He's wider than anyone in the lineup. That helps a little bit.
Right.
It's funny, I start this way. I judge very quick. When they called 4 out, I thought that Sergio, I was very comfortable saying Sergio won. Then when they called him out in prejudgment last call, I thought, God, that was quick. Rolon got, I thought, quote, tighter, quick. In that call out, I thought, well, maybe I missed it. No, I didn't miss it on the first call out. He just really sharpened up a lot. And then I thought he even sharpened up a lot more for night. So that's how I saw it. And then I ran into the judge. He said, oh, yeah, Sergio got much harder at night and Rolon softer. So I'm like, no, I don't know. It's not how it's like complete opposite.
I'll say one thing about what Rolon's got going for him. He's got a lot of mature, grainy, detailed muscle on his body. And I think we like the flow of Sergio's body better. His coloring is really good on stage because he's got that really good skin like his father, And I think that you want to pick Sergio because you got that whole nostalgia thing going behind him. He happens to be very charismatic on stage. I think Rolon's physique is a little more mature, maybe. Dare I say that? And I think that it comes down to what do you like better? And I think certain judging 100%. Panels will pick him. Here's the real question. This is the most important question. Who does better at the Olympia? That's which look will translate better onto an Olympia stage?
Me and Jose already had that discussion. We said Sergio.
I think he will too. I think he's bigger. I think big usually translate better on the Olympia stage because they're both conditioned. So, but we'll see.
Why is big translate? Tell people why.
Well, because Mr. Olympia is always is notoriously, aside from Phil Heath, he's the biggest guy usually in the planet, right? The biggest, freakiest guy is usually Mr. Olympia. So it's always the mass guys that are clashing on the Olympia stage. Phil actually happens to be probably, has basically taken that rule and thrown it out the window the last 8 years because, he's never been the biggest guy on stage. But he does appear sometimes 3D wise being the biggest. So
yeah, he's most cartoonish.
Yeah, he's the freakiest looking on stage. So I can that kind of trumps sometimes the big Rami type hugeness. But let's face it, big usually is better on the Olympia stage, and that's always been the way it was. And that's why Ruli Winkler does well on the Olympia. He's huge. And it's impressive. He can hold his own on that stage. Dennis Wolf that's why Dennis Wolf held his own always on that stage. He always did better on the Olympia stage usually than he did at the local shows.
True.
The regional shows, because he's just more impressive in that lineup structure-wise. Sometimes when you do the smaller shows, the bigger guys get shunted off because they don't really match up well against anyone. And unless they're superb, they just sometimes don't do as well, or it doesn't pan out as well for them. But on the Olympia stage, size really helps. Just like you get the Troy Alves, who is not that big, and he would always win these pro shows during the year, and then go to the Olympia and get slaughtered because he just wasn't big enough.
Yeah, people say this year you're going to do really well, Troy.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't work because he'd be like,
no, Troy every year.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Max Charles. who placed third here. Good Max Charles, great Max Charles, somewhere in between.
Somewhere in between. Good upper body from the front. Max has got to be inside out peeled to get his back down.
Right, and if he does, then usually his legs disappear, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get that fine balance between upper and lower on him. But the fact that he really places top 5 almost every time he competes tells you how good he is, just from a genetic standpoint and from a muscle standpoint. It's the old Joel Stubbs phenomenon. Joel Stubbs had the greatest back of all time in bodybuilding, better than Ronnie Coleman. But he had the leg issue. Couldn't get the legs up to size. So
he had good condition. So Max, Max is hot and cold there.
Right. But it seems like Max always somehow, sneaks into that top 5 just because he's big. Now, in the 5th position, okay, we had kind of an unknown.
What? You missed 4th.
Oh, excuse me. Did I miss 4th on purpose?
Yep. Yeah, you must have.
Justin Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Better than New York? Same?
I think that he was probably the same, just that if you minus out, Rolon and Sergio, then you'd probably say, like, if Sergio and Rolon were not as good as they were, then you'd say, oh, he's better than New York. But because he's going up against 2 guys who are in, like, great condition, then... Yeah,
but you know what? Justin Rodriguez has good legs, really good legs, and he lost to Max Charles, so how'd that happen?
I would probably have him ahead of Max.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's toss. Max is like thicker from the front. I mean, Rodriguez wasn't in the best shape,
That's what I was going to say, but I'm letting you say it because you were there.
And by the way, him and Sergio have been having like a friendly Instagram feud.
Well, it seems like Justin likes to feud with all these guys. I think he tries to get into their head,
You can't get into Sergio's head, dude.
No, I think Sergio thrives on that type of stuff.
Oh, are you kidding?
I look at the rear back double by of Justin Rodriguez, who, by the way, is looking more and more like Victor Martinez physique-wise every day. I hate to say it, but he probably would do well if he worked with you. Like those type of physiques that you have to just get inside out, twisted, conditioned, He's smooth.
He's dialed in with the Camel Crew. Can I get it in?
He is officially still working with them?
Yeah, well, who knows? They'll say no now that Sergio beat him, but...
From behind, he doesn't deserve to beat Max Charles. I'm sorry. From the front, he looks good. But he has a little layer of water. He looks like Victor Martinez. He has the same... Don't you think he's got the same arms? He's got better legs than Victor, I think. He's got the same waistline. I bet you if his back got shrink-wrapped, he'd probably look just like him when he won the 03 Night of Champions when you helped Victor.
There's a lot of similarities, for sure.
Very, very similar structure. I see it. If you look at the pictures and you take Justin's head off him, it looks just like Victor. I would think it was Victor. If you just show me that body, I'd be like, that's Victor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Justin screwed himself here by not really coming in shape. I think it could have been a 3-man, a 3-man show in that top 3 if he would have been his best.
Yeah, but he was better in Chicago for sure. He was definitely better in Chicago.
I still don't think we've seen the best of him this year.
No, I don't either. Now
talk to me. Where did Sergey Kulikov come from?
He's another Camel Crew guy.
Oh, he is? He's a Russian, though.
We're just extinguishing these guys, dude. Left, right, and center.
He's Russian, though.
I know, but they don't matter. They go from who's from Kuwait? Who trains in Kuwait?
That's
dude?
true. It's true.
He was better in Chicago. He's a very nice guy.
Is he? Yeah.
Yes. I spoke with him through Trump's translator.
Who, Roger Stone?
Yeah, I was just going to say Roger Stone, who's probably being indicted this week, and he was on RxMuscle 2 months ago.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get him on again once he gets indicted.
Yeah, you can get him with,
the
Mendez brothers, I think, in jail or something.
Now, I see Sergio and Sergey. And his glutes, hamstrings, legs are ridiculous looking. And then I see the back. His back is not that hard looking from the pictures, is it?
He was flat here.
Oh, okay.
It was good. Yeah, no, he you know what? I think what happened in in Camel Crew's defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm guessing in Chicago he was really good, and I think he was just as lean and all that stuff as here. I think he was just burnt out, and I don't know if he went back to Russia and came back, which is a big trip, or if he just stayed here out of his environment, and he just didn't have the pop and wow factor that he had 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Talk to me about sixth place Rashid Oldraker, who, by the way, I did not work with for this show. I'm working with his girlfriend. He wanted to try something new. One of those.
Yeah, Rashid was big, of course, and in some areas very hard, and a lot of areas hard. He just suffers with he's narrow for all that muscle.
Yeah.
And all by himself. But that said, and I was going to say all by himself, he looks crazy, but he should have placed higher, period.
Oh, you think that he didn't get what he deserved?
How do you deny all that muscle?
He's got a lot of muscle, and he looks like he was pretty conditioned here. His lower back looks pretty
conditioned.
Could be a little tighter, but he's pretty good. I mean, from the pictures.
Yeah. I agree. I would have had him higher. Well,
yeah.
But, I mean, he does now, he could have beaten Sergey. He could have fallen his, fifth, fourth.
But I know what you mean. It's weird. He's got a lot of muscle. When you see him stand in the lineup, he doesn't look that big or that wide. I should say.
No.
He doesn't. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's a weird thing. It's an illusion. I know, but it's kind of a little strange. But hey, top six. He doesn't. It's still pretty good in this lineup here. Like I said, this is not a weak lineup by any means. Brad Rowe, how do you look? This is a good placing for him. 7th place, probably the best all year.
Yeah, no, he was very hard. He was a little disappointed.
He's peeled.
He was peeled a little bit more fullness than he would have been. Maybe broke into the top 6. I mean, he just recently, I think, placed 5th or 6th in Chicago, which we were thrilled about.
Yeah, you've said before he has the worst genetics in bodybuilding, but he's the hardest worker.
Yeah, he probably hates me, but I say that as a compliment to he doesn't get it. It's like when I say Phil, I hate personally. But
you say that about Guy Cisternino too, and Guy loves that.
Yeah. Guy loves it. But I think Brad doesn't get it. He takes it personal. But what I'm saying is, Brad is the type of guy who, well, frankly, with his quote genetics, a lot of people wouldn't even turn pro, and he just willed his way, to turning pro.
Right. He's got pro caliber legs without a doubt. I mean, they're the best probably on stage, and then the upper body is just a little behind him. He's got the small arms, and his back is not big enough. But he is peeled here. I haven't seen him this condition.
Nick Eli Lilly sells something that you can inject into the body part now, so maybe use it for the.
Chris, you're the greatest. You are the greatest. Lucas Carroll, you impressed? 8th place.
Lucas Carroll. What's he look like? I forgot
I just thought his legs were I thought his legs were a little small. Good back.
Who is the guy who just won the USA?
I don't know. Oh yeah, it is him. That is him. I should know. I just interviewed the guy on RxMuscle.
Yeah, no, he looked.
He won the heavyweight class, at the USA.
He looked great. He looked great considering the big jump to a legit pro show.
I don't think he was as peeled as he was at the USA. What do you think about that?
No, he was tied at the USA. You're right, 100% right.
And I think that's a problem. I think guys try to come a little too big when they first hit the pro scene, thinking that bigger is better. And if you're going to sacrifice conditioning, then it's not. Probably in this lineup, had he come in like he did at the USA, he probably would have been higher. But you still got to figure top 10 at your first pro show a week after you turn pro is pretty damn good. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is big. It is impressive, actually.
I think that's definitely a win for him. Now, speaking of win, no pun intended, on win was 9th. What was your opinion of him?
He's a cliche dialed in. He's rounder than he's ever been, and he's pretty tight, but not very, very tight, and he's mostly dry, but not totally dry, and in a tough lineup, he crashes to 9th. I think last year he was top. I think he was 4th last year.
Yeah, I could tell when people are in shape by looking at their face. He doesn't have that hollowed out cheek look. He looks a little full faced to me. And
Yeah.
but he is hard, his body. So maybe he overcarbed. I don't know. There's certain poses I see that look really good. Like his front double is really good.
Wet carbs or something. We'll have to investigate that further.
Joel Thomas. When Joel first hit the pros, I remember when Joel first hit the scene, the bodybuilding scene. This kid was a prodigy. He was a teenager, and everyone thought he was going to turn pro at 19. And then it took him a while. He finally got the pro card in a very, very bad year, by the way. And he's probably got more genetic gifts than a lot of guys on stage. He's put on a lot of mass. What was your opinion of him? What does he need to improve to move up at this point? He looks pretty hard.
He needs to hit his peak right way, whatever that means. Meaning he's just not. I mean, he just looks good 6 weeks out, and then the day of the show he looks good, but not like the progress that you would expect from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm. He looks like he's got all the tools he needs to do well at the pro level.
Well, he does. Just
he doesn't have the right formula, is what you're saying.
No, he doesn't have the magic formula.
Will he get the magic formula? We'll have to find out. Well, I thought it was a great Tampa Pro show. It was a great lineup. I know you guys enjoyed yourself out there because spending the weekend with Sergio Oliva Jr. has got to be. Who's more entertaining?
The week.
Yeah. My wife wants to know why you have to spend the whole week with these guys out there in Tampa. She's like, that's why you get in trouble with the wife because you're spending the whole week out there.
Because he came down here to Tampa.
Right.
See, he wasn't planning to do the show.
You talked him into it, right?
Yeah, I talked to him. He went to Chicago. He got second there. He stayed in Chicago, his hometown, ate all the deep dish pizza and all the Greek food and all, went skydiving and all this stuff.
Skydiving.
And right, he did. Right after the show.
Oh, did he really? I thought you were kidding.
Yeah. Right after the show, I said, you got to do Tampa. And he said, no. And I said, I'm just going to let him, unwind a little bit.
Right.
So, 3 days later, I said, you got to do Tampa. And he didn't even return my call.
Oh, boy.
And then, a week later, I said, you got to do Tampa. So, he said, let's do it. And so he went down to Tampa early, and he went to Ben's gym.
Ben Bukulski.
Yeah, and Ben told me, quote, he won't be ready.
So, because Ben's seeing this guy all blown up from all the pizza eating he did, obviously.
Yeah. So I said, a lot of times his water looks very much fat-like. And I said, is he full? He said, no. I said, he's got any condition? He said, no. So I
and Ben's brutal, too. Ben's brutally honest, yeah.
Yeah. So I came down on Tuesday. It was a Friday show, too, because I'm getting my head ahead of myself. I helped Henri Pierre, which was a Friday prejudging.
Right. So you're saying to me that on Tuesday when you got there, Sergio still didn't look good?
No, he didn't. But I know his water looks like fat. It's weird. Don't you know?
You must have been a nervous. You must have been a nervous wreck.
No, I love it. I said, don't worry about it.
So what'd you do with him?
Don't worry about it.
What'd you do with him over that next couple of days?
I reached into my magic dandelion root bag.
Well, yeah, but you don't know what you're doing, though. Isn't that what the common conception is among the
No, it's not common. But Nick Eli Lilly says, I actually believe that Chris has absolutely no idea what he's doing. And I said, it doesn't really matter.
You do pretty well for someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. I got news for you.
No. So I depleted him down to smithereens.
Right.
I had him deplete. Actually, you know what's funny? The day that Ben said he looked terrible, I had him go out and eat anyway because I knew I was going to deplete him. I said, Ben says you look terrible, so you better,
What do you eat?
Hit the very, 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 very low carbs. So he went Tuesday I think he went low carbs up until I gave him low carbs on Thursday, and I actually did surprisingly load him up a little bit on Friday, which surprised me. But his body's weird; it responds quickly, and it holds water. And when he drops, when his carbs go down, and he depletes, he doesn't really flatten out. And then when he eats carbs, it just seems to magically, seriously, suck the right water into the muscle. It just transforms.
Let me translate that for the people listening. He's a genetic freak.
Yeah. That would confirm Nick Eli Lilly's statement that I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you obviously know how to manipulate his genetics, is it so?
I know. I just picked the guys with the best genetics.
That's right. Oh, I see. So you don't have to do anything. I got you. All right.
I ran into a guy, by the way, who nicknamed me Black Ceto because I work with black guys.
Black Ceto. What about Jay? Jay kind of ruins that whole theory. You know.
I don't know.
People, when you were working with Jay, they said, "Oh, Chris only works with these white guys, right?" Because that was your guy. Oh my God, doesn't get any better than that. So
I came down on Tuesday, and because I knew Henri Pierre was coming in, and I knew Sergio had been here, so I said, "I'll come down. I'll take a little vacation from the kids, from the homeschooling."
Right. Even though you're not homeschooling anymore.
Yeah. Well, I never do anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll just make sure that I'll pull some rabbits out of my hat and hit you with the magic dandelion root and the magic muffins and see what happens.
And it worked. Well, almost worked, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I thought he looked good.
I should have. Yeah.
Was Ben Pakulski surprised?
I guess you would be if you said.
Did you talk to him?
No, I didn't see him.
Oh, you didn't see him?
I did see Ben in the gym today because he will attest that we showed up the morning of prejudging and Sergio pumped up his chest and back for 1.5 hours.
So yeah,
and then we went right to prejudging.
Yeah, let me hear about this now.
Prejudging, Dave.
So he competed this morning, which is Saturday morning, and then he decided he was going to go do a chest workout. That sounds like something his dad would do.
Before the prejudging.
Oh, before prejudging, he did this.
A full hardcore chest workout.
Like what? Like what was he doing? How much was he benching?
Oh, I mean machines, but like drop sets, 3 plates. On all these machines that Ben has, he probably did 25 exercises for chest and 18 for back.
Did back too?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this question: Did he look better, or worse, or the same?
Yeah, he did look better. So, you know what? I know I'd like to be a dictator, but I'm a friendly dictator. So I listened, and he said, "You know what? I know this will work." So I said,
"So you were actually supervising this?"
And I swear, Dave. I wish we had a video.
Was Ben there?
Between every set. He was eating between every set.
Was Ben there?
Yeah, Ben was right there.
Was Ben like just shaking his head like? Cause I know Ben
didn't even dare to look because I know Ben thought this guy's going to get killed. You got to call up Ben and ask him.
Yeah, I got to ask Ben.
Think he was going to get killed?
Ben must be thinking to himself, if Chris is here with him and they're training like this, he must look so bad. Yeah. Now, at this point, are you saying to yourself, I don't think we're not going to pull this out? Were you thinking that?
No. I thought that I saw him the night before.
Right.
We were in the gym, and he was sweating like crazy, and he was getting tight, and when he sweats, he doesn't really a lot of people sweat, they'll just deflate.
Right.
And he was getting better.
Yeah, he's a genetic freak. That's right.
We were there during a giant rainstorm, and the power went out in the gym, and he continued. He's got that on video. I'm sure he'll post it. He continued to train right in the dark.
That's great. I love it.
So he had done back the night before, like 40 sets.
How do you not give if they had known the backstory of the judges on this, they would have definitely given him the win because it would have been a great story, after how I won the Tampa Pro,
Well, I was tricked into it by Chris.
You tricked into doing the show, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, you see what I had to do? You see what I had to do? Because Chris tricked me into doing the show. I didn't want to even do the show. I didn't want to do the show. Didn't want to do the show. I'm glad he did.
He did it, and you know what? He was shocked when the pleasant news was I was told. Someone said you qualified for the Olympia. So he said, "Okay, I'm going for sure."
Now he didn't go last year, right? Or did he?
No, he didn't go.
No, he didn't go. This is his first trip to the Olympia.
No. Yep.
Now, here's a question. I don't really know the answer to it. Is he the first son of a Mr. Olympia to ever do the Olympia?
Has to be.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Is he the first son of an Olympian to do the Olympia? How about that?
That one I'm not sure.
I don't know. Do you know of any other sons of guys who went to the Olympia? I'm sure there's probably someone out there, yeah. But
I don't know. I saw they John Hansen will have to.
Yeah, we got to ask the new historian there.
I told John Hansen that we're starting a bodybuilding Hall of Fame, and Flex. They had a ceremony for Flex, who was inducted into the bodybuilding Hall of Fame, and I'm trying to get the seat belt to the car that Flex crashed up in 1995.
Maybe he's got the neck brace.
John, if he may have it.
I think the neck brace would be more valuable to the Hall of Fame.
John loved it. He got John said that'd be great type of memorabilia. People would love it. Like he said, put it in a little glass case and.
Yeah. Let's talk about the 212 division. Nicolas Vullioud wins here. Last year, obviously, controversy. He had some jimmy up. He had some scar tissue and some shoulders. It was kind of cut his season short after that Charlotte Pro that he placed second at. Comes back here. I don't hear anyone complaining about any body parts. What was your impression of him? Solid win? Good
solid
competitor?
win. Pretty solid win. I mean, he's like a last week I talked about B versions. He's a B version of Lee Priest.
Yeah, he's pretty freaky like Lee, yeah.
Yeah, he's freaky looking, but he's a little squatty, and he's lacking a back.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. When you're short and lacking a back, it's I guess if you're lacking a back at any height level, it's an issue. But side chest, side tricep, very freaky, most muscular, freaky. Standing in the lineup, surprisingly hard to find in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
That makes him seemingly overrated all of a sudden.
He has a lot of dense, freaky-ish muscle, though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but he don't look like the Instagram photos, which I always say, you know what I mean?
You hate that. I know. You hate that. That's
no,
one
you
of
don't
your
look
pet
like
peeves.
Instagram photos. So, people getting these perfect light, and then they filter them, and then, then you see him standing very relaxed in the lineup, and he's very vulnerable standing in the lineup.
Yeah. Talk to me about Derek Olson, who comes in second. I don't know anything about him, to be honest with you.
I was surprised. He's round. He's lean. He's not ripped. He's not big. I think he just landed it based on his, quote, shape and flow.
Got a small waist.
Small waist. I mean, I'll have to work backwards. Two of the most overlooked people, like massively so, was Lloyd Dollar. And even more so than Lloyd Dollar was Mike Ergis.
Oh, really? Mike Ergis, huh?
6th and 7th. Mike Ergis looked very hard and dense, and with a lot of muscle maturity, which people, in that class, some people did not have, who placed ahead of him.
Well, before we get to him, let's get to Oswaldo Gonzales, who placed third. Another person I really don't know very much about.
Very hard, very dense. I mean, very, very sharp. Upper body was a little weak, but he was over-rewarded, I think, for the condition.
So you think it turned into a conditioning show, is what you're saying?
Well, no, because the guy who got second was not in condition.
Yeah. Well, he obviously placed because of his structure, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I thought and I'm not just saying this because I helped him, but fourth place, Kareth Baggio, who I helped, I thought he should have been higher. I was kind of a little surprised that he didn't do better, given the fact that these other two guys really weren't household names, and I didn't think they were that spectacular. But I wanted your impression because you were there, obviously.
Well, he's way bigger than the guy who got second and third.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And his condition is, I guess, on par with the guy who got second.
Yeah.
Not as good as the guy who got third, but then I go back to Dollar and Ergis.
Yeah.
He wasn't as conditioned as them, and they got, crushed in the lineup.
Yeah. What do you think? I look at Lloyd Dollar's physique, and I really like it. He's got good lines. I think he still needs a little bit more muscle. I think that might be hurting him in this lineup. But I think his conditioning, I know Jose helped him. Definitely dialed him in conditioning-wise better than I've ever seen him.
Yeah, as best he's been for sure.
I just think I'd like to see his legs a little bigger. I think that his legs are still lacking.
I mean, he could use bigger legs, but, so could the guy who got second.
Yeah, true.
So could the guy who got third. The guy who got fourth had giant legs.
Yeah, that's why I thought that, Kareth Baggio, turned pro one of these Masters events, but he's a guy who's been a sleeper guy. I knew it. I told him, I said, look, I don't care how you turn pro. Let's just get the pro card. You're going to be a good pro, and because he's got a lot of muscle on him. And he's got a lot of freak factor to him. And he's shorter than a lot of these guys, which is obviously an advantage as well because you can hold more muscle at 212.
Yeah.
So he still can gain 10 pounds in this class and if he needed to. What did you think of, I used to train Maradona here, who finished in 5th.
Maradona was flat from the, he was just flat. He was in condition but flat.
I think he had trouble making weight, probably. Would you say that? That was always his problem, right?
That was, 202 was always a big problem. But,
Even here, though.
He's not young anymore. When I used to work with him was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The muscle had a denser snap to it.
Yeah, he does look very flat here. I think if he's able to come in fuller, he's much more dangerous.
Yeah, he might be on the fake muffins. Who knows? He left me, too, because he didn't, he said, you don't know what you're talking about at all.
And after he left you, we never heard from him again.
No, it was like a lead balloon.
Yeah. So Lloyd finishes in 6th, Mike Ergis in 7th. I'm looking at, and what about Silvio Samuel in 8th? How is his comeback? Because he's still people don't realize he's still making the comeback. His body's still responding. He was in jail for a bunch of years. I mean,
it didn't respond this time.
No,
he was tired. He had a tired looking body this time. He'd done well previous 2 shows, but this time around he was just like wiped out.
Ergis's face looks like he can be hanging out with you and me, like eating at the buffet. He just looks like a regular guy. And then you look at his physique, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's like looks got the physique of like a 20-year-old. He's unbelievable.
Totally. I mean, tell you, skin was thin.
Really impressive, yeah.
I mean, crazy glutes, hams, like crazy quads, fabulous frontal bicep, tremendous side chest, great most muscular. When he first came out, and I might not know what I'm talking about with contest prep, but I do with contest reviews, and I thought he'd be in the top 4 easy.
Yeah, he's impressive. He's shrink wrapped for sure. That was Mike's gift. That was always Mike's thing. The fact that he's got to be in his late 40s, I think, maybe 50s.
Someone just asked me. I said he has to be at least 45.
He's got to be close in age to me. I think he's a little younger than me, but not much. And he's still looking good. Good for him. Good for him. Now let's talk about the classic division because that was. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you credit. You predicted that Henri Pierre Ano would come in here and crush the lineup.
I said last week that he got the screwing of the year when he did not win Vancouver.
Yeah, you did. You did say that, and I agreed with you. I said, I didn't know if he deserved to win, but he definitely deserved to be up there, way top 2, top 3. And he looks great here. There's really nothing I could even say. I don't think there's anything that you could. There's no improvements he really needs at this point. He's bigger than everyone structure-wise. He's got the tiny waist. He's got the great lines. Was it even close? Was it in your estimation?
I thought he dominated the class.
He got a unanimous first place vote. So
I mean, he's like 6. You know what I mean? He's over 6 feet.
It's the height thing that really makes him look impressive. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, Keon Pearson. Okay, and I want to make a statement here because Keon's been sending me pictures for quite a while now. He always sends me pictures, and I'm always like amazed when I see these pictures. I didn't know who he was when he first started sending me pictures, and I was completely amazed. And then we did a Muscle in the Morning story on him, and I have the guy who writes the stories for me, Corey, screwed up his name, and which was really embarrassing for me because Keon sends me pictures all the time, and I'm calling him Keon Williams, and I just read the stories, I edit them, and I sometimes I was going through the whole thing with my dad, and I didn't catch it, and he said, Dave, thanks for the plug, but you said my name wrong. I said, oh man, now I owe you an interview. I said, but this guy is a freak, he's not as big as structure wise as Henry, but this guy is going to be the future of this division, I think.
Yeah, you know what's so funny? I owe him an apology because I'm doing the wrap-up with John Hansen, and I'm thinking, I'm thinking, oh, maybe he'll make it to the Olympia, blah, blah, blah. He's already been in the Olympia, right?
I believe so, yeah.
And he looked, or maybe it was I get it. I think it was the Arnold. He looked damn good at the Arnold, I think it was. No, he's tremendous. He's tremendous.
The muscle insertions and the density. I bet you he hasn't been training that long. I think
that
he's got...
How old is he? He's only what?
I don't know. Well, I'm going to get him on the show. We'll get him on live with him. I'm going to interview him. So, but what a structure he's got. I mean, he's a great poser too.
Yeah, very good.
If you look at his Instagram, you see these poses he does, like these really, creative poses and he puts them on Instagram. And those are usually the pictures he sends to me because I'm too lazy to check people's Instagram. I check Snake. I'm on the Snake Instagram pages. I don't even bother with bodybuilders. And I was blown away by some of the shots he sent me. I'm like, wow, this guy's he's like a modern day Kai Green almost, like a young Kai Green.
Yeah. He does. He is reminiscent of Kai Green.
He just has a very artistic way of displaying his physique.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I'm predicting right here. He's going to be, in the next couple of years, he's going to come into his own because he's just starting. I'm telling you, this guy's just getting started. He got fresh muscle. He doesn't have a piece of loose skin on his body, and he will be fighting it out on that Olympia stage. And this is his division. I guarantee it. This is his division.
I think at the wrap up, Hansen said the same exact thing.
Oh, really? Okay. Now I feel validated.
Well, you don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either. No. Well, congratulations to both of those guys. Jason Lowe also tremendous physique, finishes in third there.
Yeah, wait, I want to put in the plug. That's my guy.
Okay, plug him. What's his
history? I've just been telling him all year. He started out at the Arnold this year, got 11th, in a tough lineup, and I've been telling him he's been doing multiple shows and placing high in multiple shows, but I've been telling him, I saw him the morning I pre-judged him, and I said that you're going to be highly, highly... It's funny, I can remember anything that I say to people when it comes to bodybuilding, but anything else I can't remember what I did. I said you're going to be highly, highly competitive.
It's a tough lineup.
I didn't want to say...
He's lucky he placed third.
I was translating that. I was thinking, no, he deserved third all day long.
No, I'm just saying, but this is a tough lineup. This is by no means a joke lineup. This is really tough lineup.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, that was his best, so...
I mean, I helped the guy by the name of...
what I've been telling him is if you pick the right show...
Yeah.
If you pick the right show, you could win a show.
Yeah. I agree.
But, it's hard to pick the right show. You one show you sit out and you look at the lineup and you say, I could have won that. Then I'm going
to tell you how tough this lineup was in Classic because I helped a guy, Tony Davis. He placed 11th. And if you look at his pictures, you're going to be like, this guy could have won any other show. This was the top 10 was brutal here at this show.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Mitt Roy is one of the hardest guys in the lineup, and he had to finish 8th here. I just think that the talent pool here was great in Tampa. So anyone who finished in that top 10, I'm looking at all the pictures, and I'm like, every one of these guys is great. Cleveland Thomas, 5th place. Unbelievable, this guy.
Yeah, totally great.
We covered him on Muscle in the Morning the other day, and I was impressed then when I saw the pictures of him, and he looks fantastic in this lineup.
Who was the guy who got 4th? He looked tremendous too.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pull. I was going to mention him next, but I just mentioned Cleveland because I know him. But
very clean line, very dense, very very dense. The guy who got 4th.
Damian Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in this division. And these are guys that are just coming into his own. Damien could have been a little tighter in the legs, I felt. But these are guys that are going to, over the next couple of years, are going to be battling it out on that Olympia stage. And what we're seeing in Classic is that we have a lot of depth. Whereas in the open division, you have a couple superstars and then the rest of the pack.
That crushes.
Classic, it's the level of how many good competitors there are is unbelievable. And they're closer together, obviously, because you can't weigh more than what your height limit is. So
yeah. You know what the funny thing is? Henry had to make a height and a weight.
Oh, really?
Everyone has to make a height. Well, because he's like a hair tall enough to enter.
Oh my God! So it's a nail biter then.
Yeah, but then he's dehydrated to make. Okay, this is the craziness. He's dehydrated to make the weight, and sometimes when you dehydrate,
you get shrink. But let me ask you this question. All right, Chris, let me ask this question. I got to bitch about something. Why don't they have, when they started Figure, they used to have height cards. So you get measured once in your life, and that's your height. It doesn't change. And that's it. Why don't these guys get measured in whenever they want, whatever? They go to a show, they get height measured, and that's their height. They put it on they put it on their NPC card or the IFBB card, and then they never have to be measured again because here's the problem, okay?
Does the human body float in its height?
No, it shouldn't. It's like you said, it's a dehydration
No, because
thing.
I know, I didn't want to say anything, but I know someone who's not weighed in, but heighted in.
It changes.
At 4 different shows, 4 different heights.
But it will. That's why I'm saying pick one height, because here's the problem. you don't know what you have to weigh if you're not sure what they're going to height you in at. So if you miss, not because you didn't know what you were doing, but because your height wasn't right, now you can't even compete. If you're lucky, maybe there's a 212 or there's an open in that show and you can jump in it. But a lot of times it's just classic. You go with this show, you spend all this money, you get there and they say, sorry, you're 10 pounds overweight because you thought you were a half an inch bigger.
You shrunk this week. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's got to be a height. They got to put on the MPs on the IFBB card. They got to put the heights on there from now on, and I think that should be your height for life. You know what? If you shrink a half an inch or you go up a half inch, that doesn't matter anymore. That's your height, and now you know your weight because they look at your card and say, okay, here's your card. He's this height. This is what he has to weigh. You get on the scale. There's no guessing anymore. It's too nerve-wracking to send a guy to a show and he doesn't know what he's going to be, what height he's going to be, and then he doesn't know if he's either 10 pounds over or half a pound under. It's silly.
I think Bob should go on the same floor as me and ask him. He'll say, "Oh, come up with that dumb idea, Dave."
It's a dumb idea, and then they'll implement it the following year.
It is. No. I know someone who competed in a show, and they measured him a different height, so he had to come in like a totally different weight.
No, it's ridiculous. You can't do that.
When he told me, "What do you mean height?" They're taller than us, or shorter than us, so either.
Chris, I'm losing you a little bit. I don't know if you're falling asleep over there, but no, I think the reception's gotten a little weird. But I know what you're saying. Let's talk about figure for a minute here. Melissa Bumstead, who is Chris Bumstead's sister, actually wins here, qualifies for another Olympia. I thought last year she looked great, but she was a little big for a figure, I thought. And then this year it seems like she downsized. I thought she was going to go to women's physique, but she didn't. She downsized. Did you watch any of the figure here, Chris?
I only checked her out because of the Bumstead factor.
Right. She's good. She's got great genetics.
Yeah, her glutes appeal.
Yeah. Natalia Soltero second.
You saw they put out like a notice or announcement, no more peeled glutes.
Yeah, for bikini, they said that, I think. I don't think they said it for... You're breaking up. I can't hear you, Chris.
I thought they did it for both.
Oh, they did? I don't know. I wasn't there. Did they announce it in Tampa?
I don't want to be held responsible for having...
I thought someone sent me the thing and they said it was for bikini. They said that they don't want to see striated glutes.
Girl. Oh, my God. I have to actually send something out and tell these girls that you don't need striated glutes in a bikini.
I helped a girl who won an overall up in Boston or area this past weekend. Jose was there, and her name's Summer Rabita, and she won the overall there. And she was lean, but she had one of those physiques. You could be lean, but if she's not flexing, you don't know. And Jose made her hit a back double because I told her she's got a crazy back double, and he was impressed. She was like all striated. But,
in a bikini?
In a bikini, yeah. But she didn't do it on stage, obviously. But she did it. I think after she won, she did it for Jose because Jose's into muscle too. But no striated glutes. She didn't have striated glutes, but she definitely had a pretty ripped back. That's for sure. Look, the bikini girls got to be in shape, but they don't want them looking, too fibery, And the great thing is you can just feed them some junk food at the end, and it kind of smooths them out just enough. Women can kind of you can make up for that. I see Jennifer Dory was second. I see India Polina. Well, let's finish figure first. Let's go figure. Natalia, because I wanted to mention Natalia Soltero, who we featured on Muscle in the Morning. She's unbelievable too. The two of them, Melissa Bumstead and Natalia, are Olympia caliber competitors here. You're going to see them both do good at the Olympia. I'm making my prediction here on this show right now. I also really like third place Michelle Pinto too. Tremendous physique. But she's not as I don't have her in the same class as Melissa and Natalia. Chelsea Larson fourth, and Maud Azampis finishes in the fifth position. Bikini, Lorelei Chapados. You didn't watch Bikini, right?
No, I couldn't stand the striated glutes. I'm just kidding.
She wins, and Jennifer Dory is second.
When that was going on, it was on the 45th chest set.
I'm sure. Yeah. Sergio was in the gym.
Sergio. Yeah.
How about India Polino finishing in third? Her third show back after having kids.
I did see her on stage, and she looked amazing.
She had a kid, how many months ago?
I know,
Amanda?
which makes it's insane.
8 months ago, she had a kid.
Yeah, I'm going to tell her she should homeschool it.
Homeschooling. Oh, my God. You're funny. Men's physique, Logan Franklin wins.
Yep.
Our good friend. I think Logan is looking so big these days. I think he's going to switch to classic physique, to be honest with you.
Well, I think that I think a few of those guys could.
He's great. This is a good win for him. I think this is the best he's ever looked. I know he listens to the show, so he's going to be happy I said that, but it's true. Now, in second place in men's physique was Bader Almululu. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. No relation to Bader Badaya, I don't think, but possibly.
No, where's from?
I don't know. I'm going to look right now, just out of curiosity. Did you watch men's physique?
I watched a quick couple calls.
What did you
It's
think?
too much.
Do you think the guys are too big? No, this Bader's from New Orleans. Sorry.
No, I don't think they're too big. I think they've gotten radically bigger. Radically bigger. I mean, holy smokes, right?
Yeah,
I mean, who was the first Olympia winner?
Well, you know what, Mark Anthony. You know what the funny thing is? I forget who my friend Cole was talking to, Matt Acton, who was around when they first started men's physique.
Matt was in the show, right?
Yeah, and this is funny because Matt was placing third at the Olympia back then. Third.
Yeah.
He was winning pro shows left and right.
Yeah,
and I believe he came in last place at the show. 16th place.
Crazy.
Yeah. That just tells you how good the guys have gotten.
Dave, well, that's what I said in the wrap-up. I said that, the amount, I said people who are winning shows, it's funny that you mentioned that. I said people who are winning shows in the board short. I didn't tell people called the board shorts. I just always get confused. What do they call them? Physique, right?
Men's physique, right.
People who are winning that 2013 and 2014 would get destroyed at the same Tampa show in 2015.
Yep.
Absolutely obliterated.
Yeah.
Obliterated. That's how deep the competition is.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening, of course, with the Classic, too. People are going to, people who were just winning 2 years ago and get destroyed.
Yeah, that's the way it is. It's called the evolution of the sport, and it is what it is. Women's bodybuilding they had here. Alina Popa makes on the comeback trail. She wins this show. Pauline Nelson second. LaDawn McDay third.
I saw Linda Murray here, running around doing the interviews and stuff.
Yeah, they have the Wings of Strength sponsors this, obviously, and they're big on the women's bodybuilding. Probably, I think the comeback of the year has to be Jenny Worth winning fitness. I remember Jenny when she was doing flips on stage at 19 years old. Back in the late 90s. I mean, she was the talk of the town, and she won the Arnold Classic. She was, I think she was second at the Olympia, and everyone thought she was the heir apparent, and then she just disappeared. And I actually interviewed her recently. If you guys want to go back on RxMuscle on our YouTube channel and check, Google it, or I should say search it. I did a big interview with her when she talked about what happened and where she went and all that stuff, and she kind of got forced out of the sport a little bit. Now she's back. She looks great. And
What's that mean, forced out of the sport?
I don't. I don't know. Some controversial. She didn't really give me the details, but some controversial stuff happened, and I don't know. She just got disillusioned, and she just stopped competing, and she just did other things, and she never stopped training, but she wasn't training the way she obviously was training for this, and so she made a comeback. She's done a few shows now, and her routine is not what it used to be. She had one of the best routines of all time. And obviously, she's got a lot of back injuries now, and she can't do it. But she's good enough that she won the show here. She's going back to the Olympia. That's got to be an unbelievable story at 40 years old to make the comeback. After you were like a 19-year-old phenom, 20 years later back on the Olympia stage. Chris, who does that? In fitness, nonetheless, as Amanda points out in the background here, because fitness is a demanding physical sport. The beating on your body you take. She can't even do the gymnastic flips anymore, really, and with any degree of of aggressiveness like she used to, because she said she just can't do it. The pain level is too much. So the fact that she's able to still do a routine that's worthy of winning a pro show is, to me, you got to tip her hat. You got to tip your hat to her. I mean, tremendous.
I tip my hat.
Tip your hat.
I wonder where that saying came from.
I'm sure someone knows. I bet if my father was still around, he would know.
I said we can't check with him. I just bit my tongue right there. I said, if you listen to the tape, I said we can't. Oh, I was gonna say, let's ask your father.
Yeah, no, he would know that. But a lot of people have been asking me about, my dad. Obviously, I posted on Instagram and on Facebook that my dad had passed finally on August 2nd. And at the end of the show, to take us out today, I'm going to read the poem I told you I wrote about him when he first about a week ago, and I'm gonna read it like Sal Palumbo worthy. Okay, I'm going to put a lot of emotion, and I'm going to read it as if he was. I actually wrote it as if he was writing it. I wrote it in. When you read it, it's going to sound like he's talking. He's talking, so I'm his voice basically. After he's no longer able to have his voice. So we'll see if it plays out well. That'll take us out of the show. I'm just going to end the show right after that. But let's just talk about women's physique for a minute. Autumn Swanson, she had been texting me all week about what she should do. She was going to do figure here. She's like, I'm switching to figure. I said, what's wrong with you? I don't know what gets into these competitors' heads. They don't do well in a couple shows, and they just start doubting themselves. I'm like, you're not a figure competitor. I said, you're a women's physique competitor. You won the Arnold Classic. I said, you're going to get destroyed in figure. I said that you're going to be too muscular. You're going to look like an elephant up there on stage with these other girls because you're too big. You fit perfectly into women's physique. That's what women's physique is all about. And she's like, I don't know. I said, trust me. So she thought about it, and she obviously changed her mind. She actually had registered as a figure competitor. And I know she's listening to this too because she listens. And she won the show here. She's going back to the Olympia. So congratulations, Autumn. I'm glad you listened to me. But Shelby did a good job with her. Shelby Starnes did her diet. And I'm glad she's got now she's got to have some confidence at least going into that Olympia. Look, sometimes you don't hit your peak, and you can't blame the judges for it. You can only blame yourself. Mm-hmm. Did you see the girl came in second, Evelyn Roca? I don't know who she is, but she looks phenomenal.
No, I didn't see.
Really good. A lot of muscle on her body, but well placed muscle. That's with women's physique. The key is a lot of people say, "Well, some of these women are too big." I'm like, no, they're not, because if they wear the muscle well, you have to judge what's up there. And she has a lot of muscle, and she's really hard, but she wears it well. She's from Brazil, of course. Where else? The Brazilians have tons of muscle in their body, but they still look feminine in the face. And I think it's just because these women, just by nature, carry a lot of muscle down there. I think the best women bodybuilders and physique competitors are Brazilian.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right.
They just have more muscle than other women. That's just genetic. They're genetic gifts. There's a ton of women's physique competitors in this show. Jeannie Feldman places third in this lineup. Tough lineup. So that's why I said Autumn really made a great recovery here by winning the show. Catherine Hall fourth. Jody Lyons fifth. So congratulations to all the ladies in this lineup. I think there was the most women's physique competitors than any other division, to be honest with you.
Had to have been.
Yeah, it was big. It was pretty close to the well, maybe men's physique was more. I heard this was a record for pro shows. I think there was almost 300 competitors in the pro division here.
Yeah, 292. John Hansen. We need a nickname for John Hansen.
The numbers guy. Numbers by Hansen. The funny thing is that, and someone was complaining to me about the fact that they felt that they won't give out free tickets to both shows, because they have Friday and a Saturday show, and so the pro level girls and guys have to decide which show they want free tickets to, which I would assume would be the one that they're in, as opposed to having free tickets to both shows, because there's just not enough seats. Which is because Tim also has an amateur show he's running at the same time. So it's pretty amazing when you think about that they're having. There's so many competitors nowadays that they can't even get everyone into one arena anymore.
Yeah, no, huge. It was crazy big show. And when we did our wrap up, I congratulated Tim Gardner for all the work he put into. Well, you know what it is. It is a well oiled and well run show.
Yeah, well, Tim's perfected this. But I got to tell you, I tell this to Tim all the time when I see him. I said, Tim, I don't know how you sleep at night. This guy's got more. You think you got real estate worries? This guy's got. Think about how many shows he runs a year between all the amateur shows, pro shows. Every weekend he's running something. I would be a nervous wreck. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night.
Well, once you get it down, you get it down. right?
It's a lot. It's definitely a lot, and he does it, but he does a great job. He's made it his passion, and I think that's what's important. When you can make something that you like doing into a business, you're successful with it. That's just the way it works, you know. And I think people have to understand that. Now, Chris is still in Tampa. He's got to get up in probably
like
2
10
hours.
minutes.
Yeah, in 10 minutes to go to the
Yeah,
airport.
well,
So I'm not going to keep you here, but I got to read you my my dad's poem.
I was going to say,
that I wrote.
we
Well, it's my poem.
Oh.
It's my poem. Originally, I was going to. Well, I'm not going to name it. You tell me what the name of it is after.
You need to explain
okay.
who it's written to.
Amanda's telling me I have to explain who it's written to. I originally wrote the poem. Maybe I should give some background so people understand what I'm saying. My dad is arguing with death. Okay, that's the as if death was like an individual. And if you understand that, then you'll understand what he's saying. So he's talking to death, basically. Okay? And I wrote it because I was sitting in my dad's hospital room, and I was looking at him, and I was obviously very upset and teared up. And I was like, what would my dad say at this point if he had a voice? Because he couldn't speak. And I said, he would be cursing at death, right? He would be screaming at him, right? Don't you think? Can't you see my dad doing that?
Yeah, of course.
If it was Dad and my death in the room, and maybe it was. Maybe he was doing this. He just
Say, what are you doing here? You're here too early.
right. He would be yelling at him, and this is what he would. And this is my dad yelling at Dad. This is what the poem is. All right, I'm going to read it, and then you can comment on it. Born the oldest child of poor Italian immigrants, barely able to tread water and taste the rarefied air, starting me at the bottom rung, thinking I'd never climb out of the pits of despair. You tried to blunt my sight, my vision, make me an outcast. But I saw deeper, created more. I was way too fast. You chased me through contrived childhood beatings and mental abuse, but I was stronger, smarter, more creative. I cast you aside. You were of no use. You took the one love of my life, thinking you had finally won. But I had other plans. Raising my 2 cherished children. No, I wasn't done. 4 hip replacements, prostate surgery, a heart attack, and spinal deconstruction. I endured, using the sharp, pointed tip of my pen to eviscerate all the wrongs, hypocrisies, and absurdities you threw at life's construction. Now, as I stand on the last battleground, in the bunker of last hopes, the final race, I dig my worn heels deep into the muck, and I clench my fists and wave them brazenly in your face, and shout with the firepower of 10 hydrogen bombs, to the last I grapple with thee. For love's sake, I release your meaningless stranglehold on me. I am at peace, for I am eternal and forever.
It's beautiful. Summarizes his life to a T, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I kind of covered his whole. I figured if I had to write a.
You need a title? What do you need a title for it?
Yeah, what do you think the title is?
Either perseverance or survival.
I was going to call it Death, but I don't know if that's or To Death. Amanda said To Death might be a better title. But that's my dad. My dad would definitely be screaming like that, fighting to the end. I could see it. He held on. My dad lived for 7 days on no food and water. I didn't think it was possible. I thought you died if you didn't drink for like 2 or 3 days, but not my dad.
Reagan Grimes did 5 days.
That's true. Yeah, and Jay did what, like 5 days too, right? When he in 2001 Olympia.
Like Chris burned out his kidneys 2001. He burned them out. Can't get hard after that.
Like we used to say, if Jay could do the no water thing again, he would easily beat Ronnie. No problem.
Gotta get dry.
Anyway, I want to just thank all the people out there because I posted a lot of stuff on Instagram and the outpouring of support and people in our industry. Even Nick Trigilli just posted something, even though he seems to be warring with me. He posted something very nice about my dad.
He probably wants a favorable review of his muffin pump stuff.
No, we already. But look, everyone, when we could all argue with each other in business and stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, everyone in the industry is very cohesive, and I've got a lot of support and love from the community. Even Phil Heath, I saw posted on my Instagram, sending his condolences. So thank you, everyone. I can't get back to everyone obviously, but I read all the comments, and it means a lot to me that everyone was that supportive, because I think a lot of people knew that my dad was very important in my life, and I told a lot of stories about my dad. You and I tell tons of stories about our dad, so I think people feel like they almost know them personally. And he was a character, but you know what? His time had come. 88 years old. I'm glad he's peaceful. I'm sure you saw the story. I might as well just tell it again, just for people who maybe didn't see my Instagram. Before my dad died, I was sitting by his bedside for a couple days, and he really wasn't speaking at this point. I said to him, Dad, I said, I know you're not spiritual and all this stuff, and you don't believe in all this afterlife stuff, but you're going to find out that you were wrong in a couple of days. I said, do me a favor. Find a way to send me a message, and validate that you made it over there and everything's good. Because I said, I know you're creative, you can do this. Amanda told me originally I should give him a specific thing to do. I said, no, that's not my dad. I gotta let him be creative about this, because he'll figure out a better way to contact me than I could ever come up with in my own mind. So I'm thinking, you know what? Somewhere down the road, I'm going to get a message from him, right? Or something. A Sinatra song's going to come on or something like that at a certain time, and I'm going to say, oh, that's my dad. The next day, all right, we work very late here at night, and we have the warehouse across the driveway, and Amanda goes over there at night and fills orders, and I work here, and I watch the baby monitor in case anyone wakes up, and it's about 3 a.m, and she says to me, come out to the garage. So I'm thinking, we probably have 3 a.m, we got a leak, right? Water's pouring out someplace. So I go out to the garage, and I'm like, what? And she points up to the ceiling, and inside the garage, because we had left the garage door open because she comes in, there's a pigeon. Well, actually, there's a bird. First we thought it was a dove, and then I realized it was a pigeon. And I'm like, what the hell's a pigeon doing in here? So I get the broom, and I'm trying to guide it out of here, because I'm an animal lover. I'm not going to hit it right there, but I'm trying to just shoo it out, and it's not leaving. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here? Birds don't fly at night, right? I mean, how the hell? It wasn't in here when it was light out.
Yeah.
And then I remember, Palumbo, my last name, in Italian means the pigeon. I'm like, my
crazy,
father.
right?
I'm like, my father, that son of a bitch. I said, Dad, I can't believe you did it already. One day, you already found a way. You found a way already to give me the signal. I said, I can't believe this. The least spiritual person I've ever met is flying in here at night as a pigeon. And he knew that I knew that, obviously, because Amanda didn't know that the Palumbo meant pigeon in Italian. Only I knew that. And I don't even know why I did it. I just looked it up one day. So he must have known that I knew that. So that, that obviously delivered a pretty strong message, obviously. And this bird stayed around until when I woke up in the morning. I left the garage door open all night so it can fly out. It didn't leave. It stayed in all night. And it was still sitting on my car when I got up in the morning. And eventually flew away. But I mean, if that's not validation, like that, people wait their whole lives for that validation from their deceased relative, right? Saying, "Oh, I just need something. Give me something," and they don't get anything, But Amanda says we don't have any patience. My dad has no patience for this crap. Oh, she said there's no pigeons here. There's no pigeons, they're only in New York City. Well, that's another thing. My dad's from the Bronx.
I know. Well, that was the surprising part, seeing a pigeon, because
birds do not fly at night. Anyone who's ever had a bird knows when you at night you put a towel over the bird cage and they go to sleep, because that's what darkness makes them sleep, because they know they can't navigate at night really that well. Bats are out at night because they can navigate using sonar, but not birds. So where this bird came from, and it had a band around its legs, so it obviously was some kind of a homing pigeon,
Mm-hmm.
So. For people people want a quote of the week, I gave you a poem, and I gave you the story from that'll wrench the tears out of your eyes. I mean, it's a great validation. So yeah, I mean, I'm mourning a little. I'm sad, obviously. I've had I have ups and downs, but that pigeon thing really put me at peace. To be honest with you, it completely. People are like, oh, you upset? I'm like, you know what? I'm not upset anymore. I know my dad's all right. It's the greatest feeling of all time. So. But once again, thank you all for all the support. And Chris, have a safe flight back from
Thank you,
Tampa.
Dave.
And we'll be doing, just to let everyone know, coming up this week and over the next couple of weeks, we will be doing a lot of our Olympia, Road to Olympia coverage starts. I will be going to the Olympia this year. So Chris and I will be there doing coverage with Sid and our photographer Raphael, and I think we're going to have some great coverage, and the pre-coverage will be great. It'll be sponsored by Redcon One, so thanks to Redcon One, we will have some awesome coverage for you this year at the Olympia. Chris, we're out of time. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
The truth hurts.
good night, everyone.